morning, everyone. I talked briefly in different audios about generational curses and how they ruin families. So I thought I would take the liberty of providing a few examples of what generational curses are, because a lot of you hear of them, but you're not exactly sure of what they are. You hear a catchphrase, but you really don't know what it looks like, what it tastes like, what it smells like, but you're just so used to hearing it. You put it in your vocabulary, but you really don't know what it is. So I want to go ahead and provide a few examples of generational curses, and hopefully this will help someone today. The first one that comes to mind is laziness. That's a generational curse. Some of you see it all the time, and when I say this is not to offend anyone in a certain economic situation. I'm simply presenting a certain scenario, okay? Let's say that you have a grandparent who, for whatever reason, they came from a family of hardworking people, but for whatever reason, when they grew up, I don't know if they suffered some trauma or they just possessed a rebellious spirit or whatever the case may be, but when they got grown, hard work was not part of their repertoire. It's like they started the party and never ended it. They thought it was more fun to run the streets. They thought it was more fun to sleep around. They thought it was more fun to get high all the time. And they got caught up in so much fun that the idea of the responsibility eluded them. They figure if they got around their party friends or relatives or whatever the case may be, if they get in a pinch, they'll cover them. And in a lot of cases in the past, they were covered by their party friends. But see, now that they've gotten older and they look around and they see their peers, people that they grew up with, and where they're going in their life, accomplishing different things financially, emotionally, spiritually, progressing, and that they're no longer 13, 15, 17 years old. This person's 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, and they're looking at them, and they're experiencing some serious FOMO. And for those of you who don't know what FOMO is, that's fear of missing out. And they're feeling it to the point where some of them self-medicate themselves because they don't want to think about how pathetic their existence has become. In the meantime, while they were out partying and having a good time and everything else, they went ahead and had a few kids. And because they didn't have a strong work ethic, they didn't have any discipline, they didn't have any type of structure, that was passed on to their children. Now, am I saying this happens a lot? I've seen situations where the children would come out opposite. But the children are exposed to this type of atmosphere. This person has those type of people around them. And they either fall in line and wind up doing the same thing, or they do everything that they can do as a child, do well in school and everything else, and the first opportunity they have, they get as far away as possible from that environment, moving to another state, another country, other side of the world, whatever the case may be, so they can start a new life. So it's one extreme or the other. I want to talk about the ones that actually fall in line. Now, if you're the type of person that made mistakes in your life and you have children, the one thing you do not want to do, and one of the most hurtful things, is when you see your child go down the same path and make the same mistakes that you made 2.0, because our children always wind up doing a little bit more than what we do, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. They will always take it to the next level, whether it's good or bad. And this applies to that mentality as well. So if you grew up partying and lazy and everything else, and that's all this child exposed to, now that you've gotten older and you finally want to get your stuff together, or maybe you don't, and you just given up, got one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel mentally and emotionally, fine. But when you sit there and you have to look and see your own child do exactly what you've done, that's like looking in a mirror or looking at a videotape of all the bullshit you've done, because you've been in denial up until this point regarding the severity of your actions. You've been in complete denial about it. You've blown it off, or you're so depressed about it that you just don't know what to do with yourself. your field is dry. You don't have any fruits because you didn't put in any type of planting. You didn't do any nurturing. You didn't put any roots anywhere. You didn't establish anything. So you got nothing. And what you were hoping is that your child would grow up and be a productive person and maybe help take care of you. Where did you get that mentality from? Excuse me. Where did you get that mentality from? And there goes the fan coming on. You're thinking that you're going to get a rose out of a dry field. You can't. You can't grow roses in dry fields. Can't grow anything in a dry field. And some of you even have the audacity to sit there and persecute your kids, and your kids are confused as hell. They're like, wait a minute, how you going to go off on me when I sat there and I watched you throughout my whole childhood not do a damn thing with yourself? Now that I'm grown and you getting older, you ready for me to take care of you. How am I supposed to take care of you when you ain't show me how to take care of myself because you didn't take care of yourself and you didn't take care of us? You're too lazy to get up and do something. And some of you created this whole scenario with a whole bunch of lies as to why you couldn't do anything. It's sad. So now you got yourself, and then you got this other person more than likely. They're depending on you in one way, form, or fashion because they're taking on that laziness curse. And you're getting too old for it, and you're frustrated, and all of a sudden they grow up and they have children, and their children wind up acting the same way. So now you got 3 generations of lazy people depending on each other, and ain't nobody going nowhere. It's just a big-ass circus. They just running around in circles and circles and circles and circles. You ever been to the circus and seen the clowns, in the ring? All they do is run around in circles. They run around in circles, laughing and partying and making people entertain. They entertain people. But that's all they do is run around in circles and circles and circles until their time is up or they're too tired or whatever, and it's time for them to go. And that's exactly what your lazy mentality has done. It's put you in a proverbial circus where you just running around, entertaining, partying, having a good time, making other people laugh and everything else. And when your time is up, your time is up. Then the next act comes along. But some of you parents actually have the nerve to complain about your child and your grandchild not accomplishing everything. What example did you provide? Some of you were purposefully lazy because you were looking for somebody to save you and come, on a right horse and say, oh, I love you and I'm crazy about you. Why would they come and offer you their world when you haven't done anything to fix yours? You haven't built anything. All you're going to wind up doing is taking from them. So if you're one of these parents or grandparents that are so disappointed in your child because they're not accomplishing X, Y, Z, ask yourself why. Are you under the generational curse of laziness, denial? Laziness and denial are generational curses if you don't do anything about it, because your children are going to act the same way, the grandchildren are going to act the same way, so on and so forth. You've got to stop the curse. At some point, you've got to stop and be an example. You can't expect nothing from nothing. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Have a great day.